Hi, this is Kim from Kimberly Kohler Designs, KimberlyKohler.com. Today I have a tutorial for you that is a basic component of wire wrap jewelry. It is a bead dangle. Specifically, we're going to be making a simple bead dangle necklace. These are real cute and dainty. You can just wear one by itself, or you can make a few and kind of layer them up. You can make the chains different lengths, and just really you can choose how you want to wear them. It's a great way to express your personal style, your own creative expression. If you have any questions, you can just leave them in the comments below and I will get back to you. Or you could check out my free Intro to Wire Wrapping workshop. I go pretty deep into kind of getting you set on all the basics of wire wrap jewelry so you can really set out on a good, strong first foot. I will link that free workshop below. So without any further ado, let's get started. So these are the tools you'll need to make this necklace. It's the basic tools you'll need for most wire wrapping. You'll need wire cutters, chain nose pliers, or you could use flat nose pliers, anything that is flat on the inside, no teeth, not round. You'll also need round nose pliers. And then you're going to want a second pair of pliers to help if you're wrapping. I like to use bent nose pliers. You could just have a second pair of chain nose or flat nose pliers. I'm also going to show you a tip to make this a little bit easier using a crimp tool. You don't necessarily need this, but if you do have it, it does make one part a little bit simpler. So then the materials you're going to need are a bead, and this is a great way to use orphaned beads. You can use basically any bead you want as long as it's drilled top to bottom. Side drilled beads take kind of a different technique. This technique is for top to bottom beads. You can use any bead. I'm using this pretty sea glass bead. This is a great project for your kind of orphaned beads you might have left over from other projects, because you just need the one. You will also need some sort of cord or chain. I'm just going to be using this ball chain for this particular necklace, but you can use a cord. This is a cotton cord. I have a tutorial on how to put together your own cotton cord on my blog. I'll place a link to it below. And then you are going to need either wire, or you can simply use a head pin. You're just going to want to make sure that your wire will fit through the bore hole in your bead. So I'm going to be using 20 gauge silver plated round wire. This doesn't have a hardness label, but it's about like half hard wire, and that's what I suggest for most wire wrapping projects. If you find that 20 gauge does not fit through your bead, you can just go a little smaller, 22 or 24 gauge. Remember, the bigger the number, the thinner the wire. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is cut some wire. So what we're basically doing is making our own head pin. So you can actually just use a head pin if you prefer. Just make sure the bead doesn't slide off the end of the head pin. But it's really simple to make a simple one yourself. So we're going to cut wire. Just make sure you leave a few extra inches beyond the length of the actual bead. And I'm going to make a flush cut. So the back of the wire cutters are flat, the front is concave. If you use the back side toward the work, so basically the part I'm cutting off that I'm going to use, it will make a flush cut, which is a nice straight flat cut. The other cut is a pinch cut. So you're actually also making a pinch cut when you're making this cut as well, but it will be on this wire that we're leaving behind. And then I am going to grab my chain nose pliers, and we're just going to grab the end with the chain nose pliers or flat nose pliers, and we're going to make a bend, kind of bend this up, and then we're going to smash this kind of down. So I find it's a little bit difficult to do with chain nose pliers. You can do it, it just takes a little bit of time and it can be a little frustrating. But I find that a crimp tool works really easy for this. So you're just gonna, just like you're using it to crimp a crimp bead, just kind of crimp it down so it's touching the wire. You know, the wire is touching. It'll be a little bit of a loop, but just a tiny one. And then we're going to slide our bead on. And just make sure that it is going to hold the bead on there. And that's going to be the bottom. So if your bead, if it matters which way your bead hangs, then make sure you put it on the right way. And now I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. And you're just going to grab it just above the bead, about 1/4 of an inch, and then wrap around one barrel of the pliers. And so you have formed a loop. Now this loop is off center, so how we fix it is we hold the loop in our chain nose pliers. And I like to go around one time. As I'm going around, I just pull this bottom part out, the bead out, and then it's straight above. And then I'm just switching hands because I'm right-handed. And this is where your bent nose pliers or your extra pair of pliers can come in handy. And we're going to wrap around 2 more times. Try to keep your wraps straight and tight. And what you just saw happen with me is I wasn't holding my pliers quite tight enough. That's why everything moved when I did that. And then you'll have a little bit of wire left over. Again, we're going to make a flush cut to cut off the excess wire. So I'm going to use this flat side of my wire cutters toward the work, so toward what I'm leaving behind. And then we are going to grab our chain nose pliers and just make sure that end is not poking out. And I actually do this, kind of come around so you're pulling the wire in the same direction. So that's it. That is a bead dangle, and now we're just going to slide it on to a cord or a chain. I'm using this chain as I mentioned. So I'm just sliding it right onto the chain. If you have wrapped this in the wrong way, so when this hangs, it's going to hang incorrectly, it's pretty simple to just fix that. So I'm just going to use my chain nose pliers and twist so that it will actually hang this way. The only other thing to keep in mind is if you're using another type of chain or cord, so say you make this cord and you couldn't get the bead over it, you might just want to make your bead dangle first, and then before you finish off your cord, just slide it on. Now it won't come off then, but that would be your necklace. Alternatively, you could use a jump ring to attach the bead dangle to the cord or the chain, and then you always have the option of taking it off and using a different bead or kind of making it a little more interchangeable. So we have some other examples. So here's an example where I've actually added 3 bead dangles onto this necklace, onto this chain. So this is just a little key I found. I put on a long chain, and then these are 2 bead dangles, and I wear them all together, and it looks really cute. So you can really feel free to mix and match different layers, different beads. Maybe you put a charm on one of your necklaces. Maybe you put a couple bead dangles on one. There's a variety of ways you can do this. So in 2 weeks, I'm going to have another video to show you some more examples of how you can use this technique to really express your personal style. But in the meantime, give this a try. If you like it or you have more questions, try my free Intro to Wire Wrapping workshop. You'll get a whole background of really solid information to set you on the right track with your wire wrap jewelry making. If you're ready to jump into some more projects, check out my class, Wire Wrapping for Beginners. I'm going to link it all below, along with any other links I mentioned during this video. I hope you have a great couple of weeks. I'm glad to be doing these videos again, and I'll talk to you soon.